And welcome to the HS Game Time Live Blitz, final week of the regular season. Kyle, this is the big ticket. KG, Kyle Glaser, and Kyle, we're all excited because the postseason is coming up next week, but a lot still to play for here in the final week.
Absolutely. There's still a lot of league titles to be won, a lot of playoff spots up for grabs. This is by no means a throwaway week. It's not quite like Week 17 of the NFL. A lot of teams will be playing their starters because there's a lot to play for.
Now, we're going to have Canyon Springs on the show a little bit later, the Cougars just getting out of practice. And they're part of a wacky Inland Valley League scenario where there's 4 teams, 1 guaranteed playoff spot, and a win doesn't necessarily get you into the playoffs. That's what makes it so bizarre.
Absolutely. All these teams need to win as well as have someone else to lose. You look through the scenarios. Canyon Springs, if they win, has to have Arlington beat North. Arlington, if they is going to get in regardless, because even if they don't get the automatic playoff spot through one of those other teams losing, I think they'll get the wild card spot out of the Central Division. So I will say the winner of that Valley View Canyon Springs game is probably in good shape. But yeah, I mean, you got to love this. Like you mentioned, 4 teams, 1 guaranteed playoff spot, none who really control their own destiny. You know, scoreboard watching as much as you can through Twitter that's going to be going a lot on in the stands.
Absolutely. So the Rancho Verde is going in as the number 1 league title league champion. Riverside Pauley is the guaranteed number 2. And the other teams just kind of beat each other up. So that's why it's come down to this bizarre scenario. So we will talk to Canyon Springs. Head coach Pete Garza is scheduled to join us on the Blitz a little bit later. So we'll talk to him and his thoughts as the Cougars try to punch their ticket to the playoffs out of the Inland Valley League. Now the Mountain Valley League, a little more clear cut, right? If you win, because 4 teams are going head to head, if you win, you're in.
Pretty much. I mean, we know Harupa Hills is going to be that number 1 team, but you have, Rim of the World, you have Rubidoux, you have Citrus Valley. I mean, it's very, very tight in the Mountain Valley League, as it has been all year. You mentioned teams beating each other up. It's been a little bit of a round-robin type of situation there. So that's also going to be a fun league to watch. We've talked all year long about the East Valley Division as a whole being kind of up for grabs. And figures the Mountain Valley League would come down to the final week because of some upsets no one saw coming.
Yeah, so Harupa Hills is in. They knocked off Rim of the World when they came down a couple weeks ago, the perennial favorite. So Harupa Hills will be your Mountain Valley League champion, at least a share of it, barring something crazy happening on Friday. And then the other 2 matchups, as you mentioned, Rim of the World against Rubidoux, Banning against Citrus Valley. You win, you're in, you advance. So it's pretty easy there. All right, in the River Valley League, kind of a log jam there as well. We know that Norta Vista is going to win that league title, so they're moving on for the 2nd straight year. And that's school history there, right, Kyle, as well, because the Braves are winning back-to-back league titles for the first time ever. So the Braves are in, and in 2nd place, we have another guaranteed there, right? Moreno Valley.
That is the number 2 team, but that 3rd and final automatic playoff spot. I don't think the wild card team in the Eastern Division is going to come out of the River Valley League. So this really is a situation where all these teams that are fighting for it, La Sierra, Patriot, Ramona, I think they pretty much need to get that automatic berth. I wouldn't bank my hopes on a wild card berth.
Yeah, so the top 3 automatically get in. Patriot has to get a win on Friday, and they need some help from La Sierra, right? I've got my cheat sheet over here. EPJ did all the legwork.
It's really easy to get confused and start, misstating things because there's so many teams that still have playoff hopes.
Why don't you talk about it? Here's the scenarios right here if you want to mention it, because we got some of the Patriot Warriors standing by. We're going to talk to them about their big game Friday because they got to beat Norta Vista to join Mo-Vals, the 3 teams out of the River Valley League.
Yeah, absolutely. As Pep mentioned right there, basically the way the River Valley League is currently situated, Norta Vista's clinched league title, which we know. Moreno Valley, they clinch a playoff spot with a win or a loss by Patriot. And then you have Patriot. They need to win and have La Sierra lose to get into the postseason. La Sierra can get in if they win plus a loss by Patriot or if both Patriot and Ramona lose. So, I mean, there's just a whole bunch of different scenarios that could play out. If you assume that Norta Vista is going to, win their game, that obviously makes it a little bit easier. Now, Pep, why don't you tell us a little bit about who we have over there checking in with us from Patriot and how they're going to try and get that win this week?
Yeah, thanks for holding the mic for me. Appreciate it.
No problem.
JD Hernandez, defensive back, quarterback, running back, all-around nice guy. I think he does a little bit of everything for Patriot. And big Ryan Darden over here up on the line for Patriot. And, you know, looking back at that loss to La Sierra, that kind of hurts now. But, you know, if you guys get a win on Friday, at least you still have a chance to make the playoffs. Just talk about, you know, the mindset of the Warriors going into the final week of the season, JD.
I mean, it's our senior year, so we're all like sad that it's our last game. But at the same time, we're kind of just a little more focused because we know we have to come out with that win. And I think that with the scenarios that we have to deal with, that it's just going to make us a little more focused each time or each game, practice and stuff like that.
So big week here in the final week of the regular season, Ryan. Do you know the scenario? What has to happen? You guys have to win. I mean, Kyle was over there spitting out all the scenarios for the River Valley League. But are you guys conscious about what you guys have to do and what you need to get in from the other teams to make the playoffs?
Yeah, I know that we just have to go out there and win. That's my mentality. That comes first. So pretty much, I think what we're gonna do is just do anything we can to win. We're gonna pull out all the stops, put everything on the line, and do our hardest, or try our hardest to win. So.
Now you guys have a very tough task on Friday. You're playing Norte Vista, the reigning champ from last year, and they've already clinched at least a share of the River Valley League title. You're playing the Braves on their home field. I mean, this is a huge game for you guys. JD, what's it going to take to get a victory against Novi?
I mean, we played them very well last year, and so I believe that we're a better team this year, although they are a better team too. But we played them very well last year. So I think if we just stick to our game plan and what we've been doing, we'll do just fine.
And Ryan, you guys are, kind of backed up against the wall. You got nothing to lose, right? I mean, you just got to go out there and regardless if it's Novi or anybody else, you just got to get a win and punch your ticket to the postseason.
Yeah, like you said, we got nothing to lose, so we're gonna try everything we can to pull out that win. Means putting everything on the line, put our bodies on the line, try our hardest. No quitting. So.
How's practice been this week? Are you guys kind of gripping a little bit, or is everyone kind of calm and relaxed and, just trying to enjoy this final week of the regular season at least?
Everyone, it's uptight because we know what's at stake, but we're all just kind of relaxed and just kind of excited for what's going to happen. So I think we're pretty good there.
Same thing, Ryan. I mean, understandably, there's a lot riding on this last game of the season, so it's okay to be a little nervous and focused, but you guys know what's in front of you, what you got to do.
Yeah, in practice this week, we got a lot of people that are beat up, so we're not going to go out there and practice for 3 hours at a time trying to kill each other. But, so everyone's focused and everyone wants to win. Everyone's in it to win it. So I think we got a good chance this Friday.
JD, back to you from the quarterback and running back perspective. I mean, what does Novi do well on defense that might cause some problems for you guys?
They like to blitz their inside linebackers, and like we've seen in the beginning of the season, that's a little harder for our line to pick up. So I think that's going to cause a big problem for our running game. So I don't know. I mean, I guess we can just throw the ball and then figure out what happens there.
And Ryan, up front, I mean, people always say the game's won in the trenches, the guys up front. I mean, so you're one of those guys. I mean, so do you feel that pressure? I mean, do you feel like you guys got to dominate the line and go from there? Because, Novi likes to run the ball as well.
Yeah, every game, I try and talk to everybody, say the game starts with us and ends with us, Can't run the ball without a line. So, I'm going to try and get everybody to stay focused on the game and, tell them keep their eyes up, watch backers, just dominate every play on the line.
All right, so JD Hernandez and Ryan Darden, two of the key players for Patriot High School. Huge game against Norte Vista on Friday. The Warriors need a victory to keep their playoff hopes alive, plus they need La Sierra to lose. Is that right, KG?
That is correct.
All right, so JD Hernandez, Ryan Darden, thanks very much, guys, and good luck on Friday. We really appreciate it. Now, Kyle, let's go back to you. Let's talk a little about the Southwestern League, which is the only true first-place battle, right? Two teams undefeated in league, and we will have a champion coming from out of the Southwestern League.
Yeah, absolutely. We've talked about all these other leagues that have league championships on the line, but those are shared titles. Final week of the season, Vista Murrieta and Chaparral playing each other. They're both 3-0 in Southwestern League play. 4-0 in Southwestern League play. And these are two of the top teams in the area. Our HS Game Time rankings, Vista Murrieta is number 1, Chaparral's number 3. Both have some very impressive wins, and their losses were completely understandable on the season. So I think if you're looking for one singular game, that's the best game of the week in the Inland Empire, this is probably it.
Now let's talk about maybe the key factors in this game. A lot of people point to the Chaparral defense. The Pumas defense has been getting it done all season long, but when you look at Vista Marietta, they're kind of a different animal. They do a lot of things very well.
And that's what I talked about in the You Pick 'em show. We've talked about all year that it almost doesn't matter how good your defense is. I think there are maybe 10 teams in the state, maybe 15, that are capable of slowing down Vista Marietta's offense, and as good as Chaparral is, I don't know if they're one of those teams. You also look at the fact that Vista Marietta's defense kind of gets overlooked. They've got a couple of D1 caliber athletes. They've done a fairly good job, holding opponents scoring down as long as they need to, giving their offense time to get out. Chaparral's offense has been good, but not great. So really, it could be a situation where if Chaparral's offense maybe steps up, surprises Vista Marietta's defense, maybe some things can happen. But
that's the point. If the Pumas can get some points on the board offensively,
and really everything is an if game for Chaparral. Vista Marietta, I think I even said if Vista Marietta goes out and wins by 40, I won't drop Chaparral out of the 3 spot in my rankings, just because Vista Marietta is a different animal. We saw, with Centennial Santiago last week. All the Santiago folk were like, yeah, we can do this. Well, no, Centennial still won by 28, and I think we're looking at something like that this week.
Right. Also from out of the Southwestern League, Murrieta Valley is playing Temecula Valley. That's essentially for 4th place in the league, and not necessarily guaranteed a playoff spot. But the team that wins that game at least still has that sliver of hope that they can get into the playoffs. I saw on Twitter recently that Murrieta Valley tweeted out that their star running back, Michael Robles, has practiced at full speed the last 2 days, and he is listed as probable for Friday. So that's great news for Murrieta Valley, but that's a must-win scenario for both teams to have any hope of making the playoffs.
Yeah, we've got a couple of those in the Inland Division. 2 teams fighting for 4th place. We're going to see it in the Big 8, which we'll talk about, and in the Southwestern League. And it becomes kind of an interesting debate, who gets that at-large berth? You have Etiwanda out of the Baseline League. They're fighting for it. King and Roosevelt, Murrieta Valley, even Temecula Valley might try and make an argument. So the games for 4th place in all of our leagues are very, very important. This isn't just a week about what teams can get that 3rd place in the automatic berth. There's only 1 wild card berth in each league. And there's a lot more teams than one that have an argument for it.
Yeah, we're going to dive into the Inland Division wild card in just a little bit later in the show, because it is very interesting that there's so many good teams, and some good teams will be left out of the playoffs when the brackets are released this weekend. All right, let's go to our HS Game Time Top 10, because it is number 1 versus number 3, Vista Marietta against Chaparral, and I'm going to punch them up right here, Kyle. And let's start with, how about number 10, Riverside Poly, checking into our top 10 right now?
Yeah, for me, they've always kind of been hanging on the cusp. It was just a matter of some other teams dropping out of the top 10, some of those Southwestern or Big 8 League teams. Well, Murrieta Valley struggled. That created an opening, and Riverside Poly is a worthy team. They passed the eye test. They passed the resume test. Their only 2 losses this year came to Citrus Hill and Rancho Verde. 2 games they were in. They had a chance to win both of those games. So I think Riverside Poly is absolutely a contender in the Central Division. The Bears are a very good football team. I think some people think, oh, it's Poly, not that big of a deal. This is a good team.
Yeah, they've kind of shed that reputation they've had the last several years. You're right. This is a very good team. And how about some San G love? San Gorgonia loves the love here on HS Game Time. And we've got them at number 9. Kyle, I got to be honest. I don't completely agree with our top 10. I don't know how you voted.
You and I were the only 2 that had them. I think I had them 6th.
Did you? Let's see. I think I had them 6th as well. I had Vista Marietta, Centennial, Chaparral. Then I think I had Rancho.
Heritage.
No, I think I had Santiago ahead of Heritage.
Okay.
I know the Patriot people out there are going to hate me for that. And then I think I had Heritage and then San G. So what would that be, 7?
Something about that,
You know what? And here's another curveball. I had Redlands East Valley in the top 10 at number 10.
Yeah, I mean that's defendable. But going back to San G, I mean, once again, we've been saying it for weeks now. This is a great team. They proved that with a 59-0 victory over Carter. When I'm doing the rankings, I'm doing it as what team has the best body of work this season, not the hypothetical. Oh, well, would San G beat Santiago in a game? Probably not. But I think if you look at the total body of work done this season, I think I like San G's body of work more than I do Santiago's, and that's why I ranked him ahead of him. Now, obviously, my coworkers didn't agree, but San G, I mean, they're going to go 10-0. They have a very good chance to go 14-0, and it'll be interesting to see just how far they can rise if they do go 14-0. They're not going to be our 1 or 2 or probably our 3. I think Citrus Hill was our 4 last year. I think San G's probably going to top out there 4 or 5.
What he's done at Carter, and they've had a good run in the San Andreas. And when they went up against Carter and put that score, as you just mentioned, up there, I think that caught a lot of people's eyes saying, okay, now we believe San Gorgonio is for real, and now we believe they're actually a CIF championship contender. So I think I had them at number 7, and Redlands East Valley.
Very well in league. I think they're going to have their biggest test of the league season in Ike on Friday, which we'll talk about in a second. But once again, I think the HS Game Time top 10 rankings are pretty much stable at this point. I don't see a whole lot of movement, even if there's one or two teams suffer a loss this week.
It's interesting to see because so anyways, we have fun with it. I actually brought it to our fearless sports editor David Zink today. I'm like, what about Novi? What about Norta Vista? Nobody talks about Novi too much. I don't know if they're in the top 10, but at least maybe on the bubble right there.
We have a lot of teams with very, very good records. Norta Vista is one of them, but once again, you look at their schedule and they just have that. So I think that's the difference there. But San G Novi, that could be a semifinals or championship game matchup.
You're exactly
and
right.
If Novi were to win that, then maybe we have a discussion.
Top 10 talk. Okay, once again, thank you so much to JD Hernandez and Ryan Darden from Patriot High School joining us to talk about the River against Patriot. Patriot has to beat Novi, plus they need a loss by Los Sierra. So they've got a tall order, but it can happen.
Yeah, like I mentioned, it's the final week of league play. You have a lot of kids, as JD mentioned, they're seniors. They're playing for their lives here. They don't want to go home. That extra emotion, that extra motivation, if you will, could push a team or two over the top this week that maybe we didn't expect to.
All right, so yeah, Patriot, they can do it, but they need some help at some point. But
figuring out who's going to be, the 1, the 2, the 3, and not just who gets into the playoffs, but the order a lot of times is every bit as important come playoff seeding time. You want to, get that extra home game maybe, get the easier matchup.
And that's the thing. A lot of these league title races have been decided, but there's still a lot to play for because you're exactly right. It's that playoff positioning.
Go and beat Rev. They're the ones that get a share of the title and the number 1 seed. There's some scenarios like that'll be very interesting to watch play out on Friday and Thursday. The Big Eight's playing all their games on Thursday.
That's right. Good reminder about that. We'll get to. Still had a very good season. If they can just sneak into the playoffs, similar to what Harupa Hills did last season, could actually make some noise. So you want to throw out some teams? I made a list, but I want to see if we're on the same page here.
In their first round. I still think the Titans can make a run to the Final Four or the championship game. They had Citrus Hill, just couldn't quite pull it out. They played Murrieta Mesa, very, very tough Southwestern League team. They beat Temecula Valley, a good Southwestern League team. The Titans have been resilient. They've lost their quarterback a couple times, and they keep finding ways to win. San G is the class, but after that, you look at Serrano, Oak Hills, Citrus Hill, Novi, Talkwitz. I don't think there's a huge gap between all those teams, so I could absolutely see the Titans being a non-league champ making a run to the semifinals or the finals.
All right, I'm going to throw out a couple teams in each of the 4 divisions, and I'll make it quick. Redlands East Valley and the Inland. It's a tall order. Every single team that makes the Inland Division playoffs is a good team. So even your first round game is going to be a battle right out of the gate. But could win the River Valley, but obviously Novi is that team to beat once again. Riverside Poly in the Central, we talked about them. They're a very good team. And Linfield Christian in the East Valley. I think a lot of people focus on the Mountain Valley League in terms of the East Valley Division. I think Linfield Christian's got some D1 caliber players on that team that could maybe, get hot a couple games in a row, and that's all you need.
Yeah, the Ambassador League's definitely a respectable league. You mentioned they have some D1 caliber players. They have some D1 caliber coaches, Deshaun Burns and Billy Joe Abear. So there's Hobart, excuse me. There's a lot of good things to like about Linfield. One other team that I want to point out, I think Colton, if they can get in, might be able to pull off an upset here or there just because their defense is pretty good. They've held opponents to 14 points or less in their 5 of their last 6 games. The offense has been inconsistent, but they don't need to score that many points. I could absolutely see a situation. Last year, we saw Paloma Valley as an 8 seed beating Summit, the number one ranked team in the first round.
Can wrap it all up with a win against Ike, but if Ike beats the Wildcats, then we're just kind of all over the place because Redlands is playing at Yucaipa, and if Yucaipa somehow beat Redlands, it's just a mess.
Yeah, the Citrus Belt League, as much as the Inland Valley League and the River Valley League have their own messes, the Citrus Belt League is there's so many different possibilities that could definitely give them the biggest run for their money. Because I think Ike has a talent level that's actually equivalent to Rev at a lot of the positions. The difference is Rev has the depth. They have a much larger roster than Ike, which will allow them to pull away. At the same time, though, if Ike loses, there's so many different possibilities. That loss to Redlands is really going to hurt them. Rev will come out on top, but we could see a 3-way tie for second. Someone's going to get knocked out of the playoffs in a coin flip, which is pretty painful.
I think maybe the most likely scenario is Rev wins, and also Redlands, so you have your automatic 3. But you're right, if Rev wins but Ukaipa beats Redlands, then it's a mess, and you don't want to be out of the postseason by a coin flip, right?
Absolutely. I will say for Redlands, too, I think this is huge because if they bounce back and beat Ukaipa, they're the 2 seed because they have that head-to-head win over Ike. So for Redlands, they have a chance to, get off of that, that bad loss to Rev, maybe get a home game in the first round, and, every advantage counts.
Yeah, so if Rev wins and Redlands wins against Ukaipa, then everything will kind of fall into place, and we know who the 3 will go in. All right, to the Big 8 League, and it's all Thursday night games, which is kind of nice. We like that at H. Let's go to Norco and Santiago because, we know Centennial's the league champion, but they're also playing for second place, playoff position in the Big 8 League.
Absolutely. In Santiago and Norco, those are the 2 programs that, in recent years at least, have been, the programs right behind Centennial, battling it out for second place. It's no different this year. Santiago's gotten the better of Norco the last couple of years. You know what, Norco, they're playing some good football game, and outside of that, Vista Marietta Chaparral, I think is one of the best games around.
All right, we're going to talk more about the Inland Division and the Big 8 in just a second, but we should note that Norco is headed to the playoffs for the 27th year in a row. That's an area record. So the Cougars have already punched their ticket to the postseason. Now they're playing for second place. I caught up with their star running back, Corey Young, last week at the King game, and they were talking about, there's a lot of tradition at Norco, and you don't want to be that team to not make the playoffs and end the streak, so there was some pressure there, but they finally got it done, and here's Corey Young when we caught up with him last week in Week 9 at the King game.
Going into the season, that was always the goal, right, to keep the streak going at Norco?
Oh, yeah, definitely was. It was always on our mind in the weight room and all that in off season, so yeah.
So, playing in the Big 8 League and playing a lot of good teams, you feel good at where this team is playing right now?
Oh, yeah, I feel real good about this team. We stuck it out, we fixed the mistakes we had. I feel real good about the team. We really meshing together, so it's good.
One last question. Can you elaborate more on the streak? Do you guys talk about it often, just trying to keep that tradition going at Norco?
Oh. All right, so that was Corey Young talking about Norco going to the playoffs for 27 years in a row. And the other big Big 8 game on Thursday night is King and Roosevelt, Kyle. Now, these 2 teams, kind of similar to what Marietta Valley and Temecula Valley are doing, is they have to win to keep their playoff hopes alive, and even a win doesn't guarantee them. They're hoping for that at-large berth in the Inland Division.
This game, I think, is especially big for King. They had chances to beat Santiago and Norco, and they couldn't quite pull it off. We talked about a couple weeks ago, they had to win one of these final 4 games. This is going to be their best chance. We saw the You Pick 'em contest. A lot of folks are picking King to win this game. If King wins, they'll be 7-3, 2-3 in league, having played both Norco and Santiago very close. I think if they win this game, they have a very strong argument to get the wild card berth over Marietta Valley. That said, Roosevelt, I don't know if they get in if they win, just because Marietta Valley beat them in that head-to-head matchup.
Yeah.
So I think there's a little more on the line for King. But once again, I think that the winner of these 2 matchups, Temecula Valley and Marietta Valley and King Roosevelt, that's going to be the fight for that at-large bid, along with Etowanda out of the baseline league.
What about Ukaipa? Any shot?
No, the CBL's
if
not.
If they lose against Redlands,
the CBL's not going to get that extra wild card spot. The CBL level of play just hasn't been as good. None of the teams in the CBL, Rev included, have the resume of those Big 8 baseline or Southwestern League teams.
So just focusing on the essentially the 4th place game for the Southwestern League and the Big 8 League, who do you like coming out as the wild card in the Inland Division? It's
tough. For me,
I would say if King wins, it's
think,
done. If Roosevelt wins, it could muddle a lot of things.
I think if King wins, they're in. If
Inland Division at-large berth is crazy and wacky, then you haven't looked at the Inland Valley League right now, because 4 teams, 1 spot. And Kyle, can you kind of reiterate what we're going into in the final week of the season? Because we got the Canyon Springs Cougars standing by. We're going to talk to them about what this all means with 1 game to go right now.
Yeah, I think going into the year, everyone expected Rancho Verde to be solid, and North and Arlington were ranked. Well, Canyon Springs has really jumped up and surprised a lot of people. We have 1 week left to play, and Canyon Springs is one of 4 teams that, is fighting for that playoff spot. None of the teams control their own destiny. They all have to win and have someone else lose. But we mentioned, Canyon Springs, if they do win, they have an argument for the wild card spot if for some reason they don't clinch the automatic berth. I'm joined now by Pete Garza. Now, Coach, first of all, huge turnaround for you guys this year from 1-9 and not competitive at all to on the verge of a playoff berth. How did you guys pull this off?
Oh, they just been working. My 4 guys right here. We have 21 seniors this year on our squad. 12 of them been playing all 4 years, and the 12 guys that we had my first year were sophomores, and they were the ones that were on the field their first year, that 1-9 season or the 0-10 season. I had 12 sophomores on that field. Last year we go 2-8 and with the same guys, and then this year it's the senior heavy team and leaders. Senior leaders. They're doing what they're doing on the field, and and we've been successful this year.
Who would you say has been the guy that sort of led the charge for you this year?
Well, I can't really say it's one guy because the 12 guys that were on that field, that've been there since their sophomore year. I really believe that it's a team effort. We preach family on our team right now, and then every day we have practice with families and I love yous and hugs, and we move on.
Say someone who has never seen the Canyon Springs Cougars play football before, what would you tell them to expect? What are you guys all about?
I'd say just family. We're about family. 2 years ago, it would be a lot of bickering on the sidelines, a lot of heads going down. But this year, right now, it's you just see the excitement on the field. You see the chants in the end zone. They get themselves hyped up now. They're doing everything that we've asked them to do, and we prepare them all week, and now they're going on the field doing it. So I think the family, the relationship we have together, the bond that we have is really strong, and just commitment to play for us.
Now, this Friday night, obviously you guys have your own game to play. Are you guys going to be, checking Twitter, getting text messages, checking up on that Arlington North score?
Yeah, that would be the game that we'll be focusing with. I got, both head coaches, phone numbers, so we text. Right after our game, I text Pat, and ask him, how he did against. Because at the time, you guys had it posted after our game that it was like a 17-14 game, and then I'm like, did you guys pull it off? And then he's like, nah, it didn't happen, but. We'll be doing it because everybody's waiting to see who beats who and who's doing what. But right now we're just focused on Valley View, and that's where we're going with it.
All right, Coach, you brought a couple of your guys with you today. Tell us who'd you bring, and tell us a little bit about them.
All right, we got left to right, Alex Rodriguez. He's Pep's A-Rod. He's our our wide receiver, one of our 4 wide receivers that we have. 37 catches this year, 600 yards, 11 TDs, scored in every game this year. Nick Como, running back, middle linebacker, leader of our defense. Abel Juarez couldn't make it today, but he's also our linebacker, a senior linebacker captain. But Nick Como here, he's probably about 17 tackles a game right now. We don't have our defense stats up, but right now he's about 17 a game. And, we're doing a lot of solo tackles. And great leader on the field. Had a big run last week, 60-yard run last week against Vista Del Lago. You got Kamari Watson. He's like at 894 yards, I believe, right now. Handful of touchdowns. Once we got in the league, Kamari took the role as the individual running back, and he's been putting up over 150-yard games, 250-yard games against Arlington a week ago. And then we got Cody Cervantes, our quarterback. Having a great year this year, and he's at 1,700 yards this year, 18 touchdowns. I can name all the other seniors that we have that are leaders, but right now we just brought, these guys came along today, doing a great job for us this year.
All right, Pep, take it away. Introduce us to some of these Canyon Springs Cougars.
Yeah, we got the real Alex Rodriguez. I heard there's one that plays baseball, but we got the real A-Rod right here. How was practice tonight, Alex?
It was good. Everybody's working hard. Coaches coaching us up, so it was good practice.
You have a touchdown in every single game receiving this season. Is that true?
Yes, that's true.
And your boy down there, Cody Cervantes, getting you the ball, right?
Yeah, he just puts it in a good situation where I could just catch it and try and make a move and score.
I think you owe Cody lunch, man, for finding you all those times.
yeah, I do.
And Nick, talk about the defense, man. You guys have to step up against Valley View because this is a must-win situation, right?
Oh yeah. Our head coach, Coach Daniel, he always tells us to finish where we start. So he always hypes us up at the end of the week, and we focus every week.
And when Cody Cervantes isn't finding A-Rod, they're going to the ground with this guy, Kamari Watson. The ground game's going to be huge against Valley View, right? Just talk about the running game and what you guys are trying to do against the Eagles.
Definitely just keeping the line, keeping the push. We keep driving, keep blocking, and do what it does.
Are you guys going to be keeping tabs, like Coach said, on the North Arlington game, or are you just going to maybe focus on what you guys have to do against Valley View on Friday?
We take it a game at a time. So we're going to take Valley View, then comes up with whatever after that. So Valley View for now, then whatever we have next week.
And Cody, down to you. You hoping to throw the ball a little bit on the Eagles?
Yeah, hopefully. Just keep it going like it's been going. So.
Find this guy down here a little bit, a couple more times, a couple more touchdowns this season.
Yeah.
What has the season been like as a whole? I mean, you guys, even going back a couple years, it's a complete 180. I mean, you guys are a very good football team now in the playoff mix. I mean, what would it mean for a Canyon Springs team this year to punch their ticket to the postseason?
It would mean a lot. I mean, it's been since 2007, made the last playoffs, and just bad seasons from then, poor leadership from seniors. But this year we have a great team, and we're going to make the playoffs this year.
Kamari, is that something you guys talk about much? Just trying to get Canyon Springs to the playoffs and what that would mean to the school, and it's been a while, and kind of reestablish Cougar football.
Yeah, but I think it's more of just what we're trying to do. We're trying to set our stuff. We're trying to rebuild the program and start it from anew. So as long as we can keep doing what we're doing, we can work.
And Nick, let me ask you about that touchdown run you had that was called back, that crazy run. I think it was on Max Preps. We had it also on HS Game Time, but it was getting a lot of publicity. Were you even kind of taken back, like, oh my gosh, I think I'm still going. I can't believe this.
Oh yeah, it felt like a dream. I didn't even know what was going on.
And what about, like I asked these guys, just putting Canyon Springs football back on the map? I mean, a great position to be in is just the final week of the regular season, and you still have a chance to make the playoffs. I mean, you can't ask for more than that, right?
Oh yeah, we focus week by week, every game.
All right, and Alex, same thing. I mean, you're one of those seniors that, this team's going to be counting on Friday night to get that win against Valley View. Yes, you need some help, but first and foremost, you guys have to beat Valley View. So, what are the keys against the Eagles on Friday night?
Well, we know this is a tough team coming in, so we just got to go out there and execute. Go out there, we've been coached, and go out there, hit hard, and just give it 100% every play.
Now, we had Patriot High School a little bit earlier on the show. We talked to them because they're also in a must-win situation. I asked them, you guys gripping, or is practice cool and you just kind of laid back? You know what you have to do, or you guys kind of stressing out? I mean, so how's practice been so far this week? You guys just kind of know what you have to do and not stressing about it?
Oh, we went in it pretty intense because we know what this game can be. So we just go in it, treat it as a game situation and just go out there and hit hard every play and stuff. So that's how we do it.
Good answer. Huge game on Friday as Canyon Springs takes on Valley View. A win at least keeps them in the hunt for a playoff spot, depending what Arlington and North do as well. Let's go back to Kyle, and we'll talk more with head coach Pete Garza.
Thanks, Pep. Coach, expanding on what your players said about Valley View, Abraham Nuno's a very good quarterback. How do you guys approach the Eagles going into this game?
We approach it just as any other team. We break down a lot of film session. Kids are watching a lot of film, tons of film, And the great thing about Huddle, you get to track who's watching film. So we get to, I get to get on the kids who are not on it, But I think just preparing. We break it down. We got some good coaches breaking it down. Defense coach, my brother Daniel Garza, does a great job breaking down a lot of their offense, and we try to find where their weak points, tendencies, anything they can give us advantage. But we just keep doing our own thing. We don't change anything. In the past we were changing a lot of stuff to fit our program. We've been staying consistent all year, and it's just been working. Adjustments we've been making at half or even going into the game. Been paying off. We treat every game right now like it's going to be a championship game. And that was coming in after the Rancho Verde game. We needed to win out, and that was our goal. And we treat every game as a championship game right now.
Coach, I noticed, Cody's got a baseball shirt on. You mentioned Kamari's a track star. You've got a lot of multi-sport athletes. How much has having kids with that level of athleticism helped you guys?
Yeah, right now it's hard to get a dual sport athletes anymore in school programs, even 3-sport athletes. But we got Kamari, tri-sport. We got him wrestler, football, wrestling, and track. Cody's baseball and football. Nick, he's our football player, but he can do track. He can do a lot of things. And then Alex, I think you're gonna try to play baseball this year if the scholarships don't, for him in football. But other than that, we got a lot of guys doing track, a lot of guys wrestling, and so we got a lot of dual sport athletes on our campus now. So and just having that just makes it, it helps the whole program around, and Canyon Springs program around.
And Coach, you brought us a helmet. Got the Canyon Springs helmet. We'll represent on Friday. I've been taking a lot of heat on Twitter, not showing Canyon Springs enough love. So now we're bringing the love, man, just in time for the most meaningful game of the year.
That's it. We start our second half of the season, starting on Friday. So that's the thing. We've been trying to get it to you guys. We've been trying to get stuff, but it just, you know, and it gets upset. You know, parents get upset, you know, when they don't see anything in the paper. We're like, did we even play last night? You know, did we even get anything? You know, but I know you guys came out to the Arlington game. That was the most exciting part of the game. So, you know.
Yeah.
But no, that game was kind of like in the beginning. It was kind of out of hand. We were up on them real quick and. You know, just holding on, and you know, and you look how exciting it was. Nick also had an 80-yard touchdown or 80-yard interception return that was called back.
Oh,
too,
man,
you know,
two touchdowns
right after that big run. So
yeah,
it was all in that mix too. But you know, but it was crazy. You know, like I said, you know, we don't care about the press. We don't care less about all that. But it'll be nice to be recognized, you know, out there, and you know, because the biggest problem then we had this year is, you know, we saw where we were going. And then the first thing I walked in our office this year, when the paper came out, and Nick saw, can you believe this? Last place, 2-8.
Did we pick you last place?
Yes, you did.
Oh, we did.
That wasn't one of us. That was
Kyle. That was Kyle, right?
No, that was one of our other guys. I had the CBL. That wasn't me.
So you know, they came in and they're like, Coach, and then not me saying anything. They were already putting it up on the wall, and it's still on our wall right now, circled, and it's like never going to happen. And, you know, and didn't even get recognized as a key player. None of us got, you know, just a little blurb that asked me who our key players were. Didn't even recognize any one of our players. So kind of had like a chip on our shoulder all season, you know, like we're not going to be last place. We're not, you know, we're going to win games and we're going to surprise people. You know, we've been working too hard. And the success we had in the summer all the way until right now. But, you know, we just, again, one game at a time. And we focus on Valley View this week.
So you guys are having a great season. So in a small part, the Press Enterprise is kind of the reason you had a great year, right? I mean, we fueled your motivation to.
You know, that's it. You know, that's what. You know, it's just something to work for. You know, give us a reason. You know, and I think it's worked. You know, it's every day. I mean, it's right there on the wall, and we see it. You know, and it's kind of good. You know, we're got a guy in every category for the stats leaders of the the week, and and just letting everybody know, because when we roll out to church on Sunday, people were like, hey, saw you guys in the paper, got your stats. And, they got the community involved. That's the biggest thing right now is the community's involved. We got people at our games. And then, it looks like the Cougar pride and the spirit's back.
Yeah, do you feel like as the season went on, the excitement around the football team was kind of building because you guys were having a great season?
Oh, that's it. We used to be everybody's homecoming. And then now, we've been ruining senior nights lately. So everybody's senior nights, we've been ruining them. So it's, all I know is that, we just go out and prepare, and that's it. We go out and play, and we can't focus on, here we are, another homecoming, or, I don't know if they'll put us at a homecoming next year or, whatever, but we'll be all right. We're moving in the right direction with Canyon Springs football.
And I guess you could say that there's no better place than to be playing for a playoff spot in the final week of the season, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that's what you guys were, the whole season was about, to, have a shot at least to make the playoffs with one game to go.
Our Inland Valley League is one of the toughest. We got number 1 Rancho. We got Pauley, which is ranked, I believe, 3 right now. Arlington, great program every year. Pat does a good job over there. And then, Dan over at Valley View, and then Art over at Vista. In North, we got a tough league. Everybody's beat everybody. So now we're in a situation where third place is up in the air. And you look at it as we take third if we win. If not, we're like 6th place. It just, we all fall into that category, but we're not looking for 6th, we're looking for 3rd, and looking for the playoffs, because I know they want to continue their season. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Coach, thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure, and best of luck on Friday.
All right, thank you.
We're keeping the helmet, is that right?
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
We'll keep that Canyon Springs love going.
All right. Beautiful.
All right. Thanks, guys. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
And
I remember at the beginning of the year, I remember we were doing it from the Gosh Auto Mall at Hemet, this show, and I remember looking at Canyon Springs. They got off that 3-0 start. And
keep going. I'm just going to adjust the camera.
It was very clear that Canyon Springs, there was something different. That this wasn't, the normal Canyon Springs team that you could ticket for the bottom of the Inland Valley League. They won some games early, and then getting into league, even some of their losses, they were competitive. I think the real big one was that win over Arlington, 27-25. Even though Arlington is in a down year, they're still an elite program. And for Canyon Springs to be able to knock them off, I think is what opened some people's eyes and said, okay, Canyon Springs is a team we should take seriously. And like I said, I think that if Canyon Springs beats Valley View, even if the chips fall as such where Canyon Springs doesn't become the 3rd place team, I think they still get into the playoffs as a wild card team. And also, same goes for Valley View. I really think the winner of this game gets into the postseason, or should get into the postseason.
Yeah, it's really too bad that more teams from out of the Inland Valley couldn't advance out of this. But I like Canyon Springs against Valley View. I think they were one of the Pick'em games. It must be, right, in the Pick'em
Yeah,
contest.
they
And I
are.
got Canyon Springs in this
And
one.
you know, I did pick Valley View on the Pick'em show just because I believe in Abraham Nuno, and I think that Valley View has some weapons. But it would not surprise me, and it shouldn't surprise anyone else if Canyon Springs emerges victorious.
I did not know we picked them in last place in our preseason.
I did not. Like I said, that was. I'm not going to say which rider that was, but it wasn't me. I had the CBL and the Mountain Pass. I'm innocent.
But you know what? They used it as bulletin board material, right? They put it up. They said, hey, look, the PE doesn't think much of us. We're going to go out and prove everybody wrong. So we played a small part, and the Cougars having a great year, Kyle.
Sure. You know what? I know they're not the first team to use something that was said or written about them as bulletin board material, not just, for the PE, but for any newspaper. Every team's looking to find that edge. And I want to give Coach Gars a lot of credit. After he mentioned 0-10 year and a 2-8 year. Some coaches, check out, and some of the players check out. Instead, they kept working, they kept building, they kept, working toward that light at the end of the tunnel. And, now they're in position to make something happen. And I think as recently as, a year and a half ago, no one would have said, oh, yeah, that team will be in playoff hunt within a year.
Well, yeah, the Inland Valley will certainly be fun on Friday. And we want to thank Adrenaline one more time as we were here doing our Blitz Live. I'm going to kind of make the rounds. They got boot camp going on. As some parents are out here, man, they really push them through some strenuous drills, the shuttle run and whatnot, and we've got some basketball going on in the background as well.
I feel really lazy just sitting here while everyone else behind me is running around and working hard.
I know, I kind of feel lazy. I feel that as well, as everyone's like breaking a sweat, and we're sitting here kicking back in some pretty comfy chairs. And
I'm playing hockey
really
later
too
tonight,
much.
so I think I'm okay.
So they're doing the shuttle run. I remember doing that.
Yeah.
And then let's go over here, swing over here, and check out David Johnson, former LA Galaxy star. He actually let me fire off a couple shots. I impressed him, Kyle. I did. I fired a couple shots off, and he was like, wow.
Good to know.
So
good to know you still have it.
I still have eligibility. Not that I'm going to go back to school anytime soon, but I could go back and play. Maybe I'll try out for the Galaxy. I don't know. Maybe I'll just finish the Blitz tonight, see what's going on.
One step at a time.
Yeah, one step at a time. So once again, thank you to Adrenaline Athletic Training for hosting us again. They've been gracious hosts. We've been in Corona the last couple of weeks, but now we're back in Riverside, so we had a chance to bring Canyon Springs back onto the show, as well as Patriot, so it was nice to have them on. They both have these must-win games to make the playoffs, and both of them also need help. So that's kind of a weird predicament. Obviously you want to focus on your game. You want to get that victory, but also you're probably like, I need to text and find out what else is going on tonight.
There's definitely going to be scoreboard watching, or in this case, Twitter watching for scores. No question about it.
All right, we got to keep this moving because we're almost hitting an hour right here. But let's go to the Mountain Pass third place game, San Jacinto and Hemet. So we know Citrus Hill's in, Tahquitz is in, but this is a great game for third place.
Absolutely. San Jacinto only won last year's game by 1 point. I believe it was 27-26. Hemet is much improved. San Jacinto, though, with Malik Kimbrough and PJ Marietta, two very talented teams, two very well-coached teams. This is also going to be a very exciting matchup. The proximity of the two schools, this one definitely has some meaning.
And in the, the Sunkist League, third place, it's pretty simple. If Colton beats Fontana, the Yellow Jackets move on. I mean, that's pretty clear.
And Colton's going to enter as a heavy favorite. They their record doesn't look that great, but they've been close. I mentioned they only have they've allowed 14 points or less in 5 of their last 6 games. A couple of those were losses to Summit and some other teams. So even in their losses, Colton's been close. This is a team that pretty easily could have had a 7-3, maybe even an 8-2 record. Instead, they're going to be around 5-5, but they should get in the playoffs.
Now, the other scenario would be if Grand Terrace could knock off Kaiser, and Colton happened to lose the Fontana, then Grand Terrace would be that third-place team. But the Titans having a tough battle against Kaiser.
I'll put my money on the Yellow Jackets to emerge.
Yeah, the defending Kaiser, the defending Central Division champion, so they're not going to go down easy. All right, we have Veterans Day on Monday. It's right around the corner. I just wanted to make note of something real quick because Linfield Christian star running back Rizer Wilkins did something pretty cool recently. He helped a disabled veteran revamp his house, and I'm going to show you some B-roll and a picture of Rizer. So I want to get this right. So it's called the Mission H3 Healing Our Heroes Home, which restores the houses of disabled and wounded veterans. Wilkins was part of this project to improve the home of disabled veteran Commanding Naval Officer Brian Delaney. And I talked to Wilkins, and here's what he said. Here's a quote from Wilkins, and there he is with Officer Delaney. Wilkins said, "I participated in this project because I learned that before his accident, Commander Delaney was a man who showed compassion to his troops and loved serving his country. Qualities that made him, Delaney, a great leader is the type of leader I strive to be on and off the football field." So a nice story as we head into Veterans Day.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of athletes at all levels who maybe get attention for the wrong reasons, and it's unfortunate because the vast majority of athletes, do a lot of good things, and we see it at the professional level, the college level, and even at the high school level. People can make a difference whether you're 15, 25, or 35, and it's really good to see. Wilkins, stepping up and doing a good thing in the community.
Yeah, so many times the media in general, not just the Press Enterprise or you and I, are accused of showing negative things or bad things when, bad things happen. But it's nice to share and pass along stories like this where it highlights these high school athletes doing great and amazing things off the field.
Yeah, our job is we have to report the news, whether it's good or bad is kind of irrelevant, but there's no question it's always much more fun reporting, the good stuff about, kids really stepping up and helping those in need as Wilkins did here.
All right, speaking of good stuff, it's time for the Tell Me Why game, and we're going to use our brand new Canyon Springs helmet.
I like it.
Here's the logo on the side. There you go. So final week of the regular season, but we finally got a helmet. So we're giving Canyon Springs a ton of love here on the Blitz. Let me mix these up. I think this one was just used. Look at that in there. Canyon Springs, hard at work.
Yeah, hey,
I think somebody wore that in practice tonight.
Absolutely.
All right, Kyle, I'll draw one for you first.
All right.
All right, here we go. All right, Kyle, tell me why Elsinore will beat Heritage and force a three-way tie for the Sun Belt League title. Wow, that's a doozy.
Because Heritage will be sleepwalking. Heritage thinks they've already done all the work they needed to do, beating Paloma Valley. They're coasting into the postseason on a nice long winning streak. And they are going to walk in overconfident. They're basically are kind of resting up for the playoffs. They're not even going to give most of their players the ball, their best players the ball, until it's probably too late. Elsinore, Ryan Laverdiere will lead that defense. They'll stop them there, and then Tommy Wilson will lead the offense. Before you know it, Elsinore has an upset victory.
And we must put a disclaimer. This may not be how Kyle really feels,
right,
but we have to do it for the game.
This is the Tell Me Why game. We make an argument,
because I think I can hear people in Menifee right now from Heritage High School saying, "What? Why did Kyle say that?" It's part of the game. Everyone calm down.
It's
okay.
all good.
Even though I think you got Heritage in that game, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Heritage. Pep.
Yes.
Tell me why the Inland Division wild card will come from the Big 8.
Okay, so here's the deal. Like we talked about before, I think if King gets the win, I think it's more clear-cut. I think the Wolves go in. They had an overtime loss to Santiago. They had
triple overtime.
Oh, yeah, triple overtime loss to Santiago. They lost in overtime to Norco. I mean, so if the CIF is looking at, quality losses, I don't know if there's such a thing, but if they're looking at that, those are two of them right there. And if you beat Roosevelt, who's had a fantastic season with Tony Burrill, I think King is the obvious choice. Now, that's no slight to the Southwestern League because we had Vinny Fazio on last week, and we kind of all agree that the Southwestern League is probably from top to bottom the toughest league around. So finishing fourth in that league still means something. But right now, if that was Marietta Valley or Temecula Valley, I don't know. I still feel like King. Now, if Roosevelt won and Marietta Valley won, then you have to take Marietta Valley because they won that head-to-head. But I think as long as King wins, it's more of a slam dunk. So I think if Roosevelt wins, they would need Marietta Valley to lose, if that makes any sense. All these scenarios, man, just blow my mind. All right, Kyle. Tell me why Rubidoux and Citrus Valley advance to the playoffs out of the Mountain Valley League.
Well, Citrus Valley gets in because they're red hot. I mean, they beat Rim of the World. They're going to handle their business and win, and that's going to get them in. And then Rubidoux's going to get in because Rim of the World is scuffling. They've lost 2 straight. They're not playing like they were before. Rim of the World is, in fact, slowing down a little bit. So I think that's going to be, all that Rubidoux needs. They have the momentum. Rim of the World doesn't. Boom, Citrus Valley, Rubidoux into the postseason.
All right, one last question for the Tell Me Why. Put Canyon Springs back over here. Get their logo out there.
All right, Pep. Tell me why Eisenhower will beat Rev and force a 3-way tie for the CBL crown.
Man, we talked about this earlier. So here's the scenario. So Eisenhower would have to beat Redlands East Valley, and assuming Redlands beat Ukaipa, there would be a three-way tie. Now for Eisenhower to beat Rev, I think we touched on this, that Redlands East Valley would have to just be coasting into the playoffs. Although my personal opinion is they've gotten better as the season went along. But Eisenhower, maybe if they caught the Wildcats on an off night, thinking ahead to the postseason, hey, we're playing pretty well at this point. How far can we go in the playoffs? Oh, wait, we still have to play Eisenhower before we wrap this thing up because Rev also already has a share of the Citrus Belt League title for the 5th year in a row. So maybe they think, oh, we already got it. Let's focus on what's going ahead, and maybe Eisenhower will catch them looking past them. And the other game, like we said, Redlands would have to beat Ukaipa to force that three-way tie. If Ukaipa won, then the scenario would not happen. But it's that whole looking past thing. So that situation is similar to a lot of leagues, not just the Citrus Belt, for a team to be looking ahead to the CIF playoffs and not worrying about Week 10.
I will say, even though I picked Rev to win this game, when I look at all the different games, underdog against the favorite with playoff implications this week, this is the one I think that has the biggest chance of the underdog winning. Just because I think you look at their talent from Taiwan Green and Marquand Harris and Miguel Lee and Micah St. Andrew and Terry Clarendon, Ike is stacked. The issue with them is their players have to play both ways because they have under 40 kids on the roster, so they get tired. But from a talent perspective, I think Ike has the talent to do it, to match up with Rev, at least for a little bit. And I don't really know if you can say that about any other game that's happening this week where the underdog is facing a favorite, Chaparral Vista included.
That's right. All right, before we go, we're going to pick our Adrenaline Player of the Week, somebody who on Friday or Thursday, if you want to pick a Big 8 League team, who needs to step up, who's going to have a huge game and help their team win. And as we said, there's a lot of league titles already decided, but still plenty of important games to go. So these guys will have to step up and help their team get to the playoffs. Kyle, who you got?
You ready for one way out of here?
Throw me a curveball.
Josh Hensel, defensive
end
Hemet.
Okay.
And what Hensel's going to do is he's going to...
Is he one of those guys who squat? Coach Reitz is saying that they love to squat
6'5",
out there.
290.
He squats.
He's going to provide tons of pressure on PJ Murrieta of San Jacinto, forcing the Tigers to get rid of the ball before they want to. It's going to neutralize that passing game and give give Hemet just enough room for the offense to go in and score an extra touchdown. I think Hensel leads the defense, and he'll step up and put Hemet in the playoffs.
That's a tall order. San Jacinto's got a great passing game. Malik Kimbrough, he's a stud, right?
I think Hensel's one of those few guys who has the potential to disrupt enough to cause havoc.
Seems like so long ago we had Coach Reitz on. That was like week 2 or something like that? Mm-hmm. Man, football season's almost over. All right, my player of the week, a guy who was just here, the real Alex Rodriguez, A-Rod from Canyon Springs High School. Now, Coach emailed me over the weekend and said, hey, Pep, you got to give Canyon Springs some love, especially A-Rod. He has at least one touchdown catch in every single game this season. I believe he has 11 on the year through 9 games. So, obviously, he's Mr. Steady. He's hauling in those touchdown passes from Cody Cervantes. And for Canyon Springs to beat Valley View on Friday, I think A-Rod will have to check into the touchdown column once again and help his team at least have a chance to get into the postseason, depending on what Arlington and North do as well. All right, so thank you to Canyon Springs. Thank you to Ryan Darden and J.D. Hernandez from Patriot High School from joining us as well. 2 teams, Kyle, who have to win on Friday, and they need some help.
Yeah, and you know what? There's a lot of teams in a similar situation, must-win games, and that's what's going to make this Friday and Thursday, with the Big 8 games on Thursday, very, very exciting.
Yeah, so it's going to be a great week of high school football as we inch a little bit closer to the postseason, which begins next week. And we'll have everything on HS Game Time Live on Friday night, as well as Saturday's Press Enterprise. Big thank you to everyone here at Adrenaline Athletic Training. They are the best. As we showed you, they've got soccer, basketball, some boot camp going on. I think Kyle and I are going to fire off some soccer shots in just a second and kind of live it up, relive our childhoods. But thank you for everyone watching tonight, and please check us out as we see how Week 10 is going to pan out, Kyle. It's going to be great.
Should be. I'm excited.
All right, for everyone at HS Game Time, he's the Big Ticket KG, Kyle Glaser. I'm Pep Fernandez, and we will see you next time on HS Game Time Live, The Blitz.